Welcome to the very first, and knowing you guys' track record, possibly last, of session of Dunces and Dimwits Dabble with Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D&D&D&D. So let's get our little adventure started. Go ahead and you guys just introduce yourselves one at a time. Austin, who are you?
Well, my name is very simple. It's Paul. I am but
Warrior's name.
yes, but I am but a simple butler. I seem to have lost my master. He disappeared one day. And he left me a note, and now I've just been on my own.
It's fair. Also, orc rights, Mr. Orcs make beautiful lovers, orc rights. Carly, who are you?
Sorry, 1 second.
Putting on her voice.
I can't think of voices for them, so I'm just going to talk normally.
That's fine.
I am Twinmind Sprites, and they are orphans. So that's really it.
Well,
They're wandering around for food. Poor babies.
They don't have parents. Do they have names?
Flower and Fall.
All right. And Hunter, who are you?
I am playing Captain Red. And he has a little kills some certain people.
Good a motivation as any.
Yeah.
Gotta love the occasional chaotic evil.
Yeah.
All right, so
murder. That's good.
Chaotic evil and lawful good.
Dungeons and Dragons, also known as murder and whatnot. Okay, so you guys, you can decide amongst yourselves if you know each other in advance, but you guys' existing interaction doesn't go any further than you went to the same academy to learn how to be adventurers, which is where you picked up all of your current skills and talents and whatnot. And you're fresh out, level 1, your little babies, both in mind and soul.
You're calling a baby.
Mind and spirit.
Yeah, in mind and spirit, you are babies. So you needed a first.
Calling baby.
And you needed a quest, and luckily, a contact of yours managed to come through. They didn't reveal their name. They would just communicate with you anonymously. But a friend of yours has revealed that.
Wait a second. I don't got any friends.
Just
Friends.
derails the campaign. Also, by the way, the voice is probably going to be changing for a bit as I'm getting it down.
Yeah. Also, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, so you guys have heard some rumors, some very nice rumors. Supposedly, on the island of Tortage, every few millennia or so, all of the gods come together for a great meeting to decide the future of cosmic politics. After incidences like Troy and whatnot, it can't just be anarchy out there. So every so often they come together for a meeting to decide the future of cosmic politics and how they're going to dictate the world. And they come to this place, Tortage, a hive of scum and villainy off of the coast of Hyboria, which is neutral ground that nobody controls. And supposedly, only at these times on the island of Tortage, when all the gods come together, a great treasure that could set all of you for life and some extra lives just to be on the safe side is here. And I don't know about you fellas, but that sounds delish.
Yep. You know what? Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
We always payday.
So you guys have partied up, and you're currently making sail for the island of Tortage. You guys can have any character interactions you want on the way there. The ship itself is just a small, derelict little brig. It is very much a pirate ship, but they've promised not to get into any trouble on the way there, since they're just dropping you guys off in exchange for you guys' contact, giving them a cut of the profit, and in exchange for a cut of the profit themselves. So they're taking you off to Tortage, which is a fair distance away from the academy, but so you guys got some time to kill on the way there. So what do you guys want to do?
I want to clean the ship.
Sweep, 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 sweep.
Yeah.
All right, Flower and Fall, what are you going to get up to pass the time on the ship?
On this grand old pirate ship. Let's bother the pirates. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
I second this idea.
Oh.
All right, so you two are going to rattle some skulls. Who do you want to talk to?
Rattle some bones.
Well, I don't know.
Who is in
told
my
us of any-
vicinity? Who is my target?
Well, closest to you, there's a scrawny little swabby, swabbing. What else does a swab do? The ship's lookout is coming down from the crow's nest for a bit, for a bit of a red dragon, some red drake to friggin' chug. And one of the ship's gunners is sharing the drink with him, and the ship's captain is, of course, at the wheel. So you can talk to any of them.
Mm.
Let's go mess with that poor little swabby.
All right, so he's a small teenage human wearing a tattered purple shirt with just all of his clothing items, rule of thumb, are incredibly damaged. Doesn't even have shoes.
Wow.
And when you
Walking
approach,
around with his bare ass feet.
yeah, on a wooden ship, the splinters must be terrible.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So when he sees you
Belt's
coming,
character.
so when he sees you guys coming, he just kind of stops his work to lean on the mop handle a bit. And he seems really jittery and nervous, although you're not sure if that's to do with you or just that's his normal state of being. But
Yeah.
once he kind of corrects himself after knocking the bucket full of freshly mopped water over, he crosses his arms and raises an eyebrow. And he's just like, you guys need something?
Not really, and just have Flower just settle herself on his head.
He kind of looks up at you, and he's kind of quiet for a while before you just hear him under his breath, just, "You're so freaking tiny."
Yes, I would hope so. I am a sprite after all.
He kind of shakes his head so that you'll freaking fly off like he's shaking a bee off of his
Just gonna hold on to his hair. Shake me off. Never.
He
You are
sighs.
mine.
He sighs and hangs his head before looking at the three of you who are talking to him, and just says, "Seriously, do you guys need something? I mean, I'm looking forward to any excuse to put this off, but I probably should get back to it before the captain says something."
I guess Captain Red's. All right, mate. Let's you get back. I got other things. And it's gonna look around the ship, so a perception check, basically.
All right, go ahead and roll it. Any dialogue from Flower and Fall?
Flowers.
That
I
is a
guess
12.
I'll leave for now.
All right. And on a 12, you're currently sailing to Tortage on a fairly derelict pirate brig. There's nothing really valuable in the sense of cargo, and even the crew isn't particularly notable. You get the impression your contact just kind of picked up the cheapest dude to get you there.
I guess we will go have a drink with those guys to see if they had any guys with a drink.
All right. Flower Fall, Paul, anything from you guys before we go to that?
How's the deck looking?
It's respectably clean outside of that new friggin' damp spot from friggin' the swabby knocking the bucket over.
I'm gonna go clean that.
We'll go our shenanigans off at the lookout.
Yeah, okay, so you and Captain Red are going to the same place.
Yeah.
While you guys are hanging out with the friggin' gunner and the lookout, the captain, to your surprise, Paul, kind of stares at you while you're doing the swabby's job, and kind of and he's a big dude, like friggin' this is a tank of a guy. He friggin' all fucking gorillas his way over to you, before friggin' staring down at you for a really uncomfortably long time before he silently friggin' slaps a small parcel into your hand. And the parcel contains about 5 gold pieces.
Oh.
He paid you.
He paid me to do something I was willing to do for free.
Money. That's
hmm.
always nice.
And it's like,
I feel like he wouldn't know what.
Well, I have money. Yeah, it's like he has 10 gold, but I mean, he hasn't really used the gold since he's mostly lives at his mansion.
Yeah. Now
Uh,
you have 5 extra.
yeah, just gonna look at the gold and be like,
Just imagine the captain's like, actually like a freaking gorilla.
I hand back the gold.
He just crosses his arms and stares at you, and you get the impression that it's either the gold or a black eye.
I mean, I don't want a black eye. I guess
insistent about paying
me. Well, I guess I'll put it in my pocket and go back to cleaning.
He nods and friggin' lumbers his way back to the wheel. Meanwhile, with you two, so the lookout and the gunner both are actually elves. The lookout is a wood elf, and the gunner is a dark elf. The wood elf is, fairly bog standard for an elf, long, flowing blonde hair. He's wearing a necklace of some form of teeth. You don't recognize what creature they're from. You get the impression this is like a fairly rugged survivalist type. And the gunner is a dark elf who is currently missing one of his eyes, although he's covered it with an eye patch, thankfully. And he's wearing a nice little beanie, and the two of them are just swapping drinks. And when they see you three coming, the gunner promptly reaches into a nearby crate and pulls out 3 more bottles of Red Drake, one for each of you, and just holds them out silently to see if you want one.
Red just like takes it on. I was like, "Thank you, mate." That's what I was. Also, I don't see many of your here ships.
Real quick, Flower and Fall. Anything before I respond to that?
Well, they're tiny, so it's like, I appreciate it, but I don't think we could drink that without dying.
The 2 elves just kind of laugh, but they don't bother you about it. They just, like they basically take the more for me approach, just kind of silently put the bottles between themselves. And in response to you, Captain Red, the dark elf just kind of chuckles and says, "Aye, it's true you don't see many like me on these sorts of vessels, but hey, it pays well and plenty to drink."
I can agree with that. Just takes a swig of.
All right. Any more shenanigans from you guys, or are you guys content?
I have one idea.
All right, what you got? It's going to be a long trip, so you got plenty of time.
Yes, so the deck is clean, right?
It is now.
Alright. I want to go cook. Doing my butler's job.
So are you just going to head down to the kitchen, just kind of do it without telling
How
anyone?
do you know it's time to cook?
I mean, hey, anytime's good.
Anytime's good for eating.
Yeah. But,
yeah,
I'm just gonna insert myself into the kitchen, make a fine meal.
Whenever you enter the kitchen, you see another figure, although you don't know what species they are because they're currently decked full top to bottom in a plague doctor's uniform. And he just kind of like whenever he hears you enter, turns to look at you silently, and no like expression can be garnered from under that beak mask, but he just kind of is looking at you.
Squawk. Turns out he's a bird.
I give him a good bow and just be like, kind of just start like examining the utensils and before cooking my meal, give him the good shine.
He's just gonna jump into his.
Yeah. Butler.
He stabs you. No, I'm kidding.
Ow.
The guy kind of watches you for a minute before, to your surprise, just casually leaning over a table in the center of the kitchen. And he laughs a bit and says, "So, are you just intending to do everyone's jobs, or?"
I'm just doing my butler's job, you know. Just doing what I can.
Since that's what all of us are doing. My name's Luther. I'm the ship's doctor, and while some people are drinking on the deck, the cook.
So he's like me.
Up top, Conrad's like, I think someone's talking.
Food?
Yeah, you get the impression somebody on the top deck who's in the little drinking circle is supposed to be cooking right now, but they aren't.
So probably one with the chef hat, you know. But well, I mean, I don't mean to brag, but
I like this character.
no, but I can cook up a decent meal if you need, you know.
What's the Hades? It's worth a shot. He tosses over a few of the tools he was using to cook, bows to you and says, well, my hands are yours if you need them. Not literally, preferably.
Just simply takes hands.
Doink!
Doink.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my butler's duty and do my butler's best and cook him a fine meal.
I will do as the butler does and tidy up.
Yes.
Watch him roll a one. A disgusting, unedible slop.
Do you have actually, you have cooked utensils available here.
I have proficiencies in
do you have
cooking utensils and brewing supplies.
Okay, you're good then. You the ship doesn't have it's not enough for like a crazy
Feast.
yeah, it's not a feast or anything, but you make a pretty solid, respectable meal, and the small crew gathers, and they seem to greatly appreciate that you went to the effort. The captain is just kind of staring at you again, and he slides another parcel of 5 gold across the table to you as you guys are feasting.
I guess puts in his
Captain
pocket.
Red just looks over to Paul. So Captain Red just says to Paul, "You really like doing menial tasks."
Been my whole life since I can remember.
I never much cared for. Been more sit at the helm.
I respect that, and Fall just kind of nods.
So the crew is gathered all around for this respectable little dinner made by a master chef. It's pretty understaffed for a brig, which is probably why your contact was so certain that you weren't going to bother anybody or actually do any piracy while you're out. Not counting you guys, there's only 10 people on the ship in total.
Oof, ouch.
Yeah, they're kind of lacking.
Yeah, for those in the audience, that is like less than half of what a ship like this actually requires. But they clearly make it work.
Yep.
All right. Any other shenanigans? Or are you guys good until we get to your destination?
I mean, Captain's just gonna be drinking and maybe talk to the crew here and there, but mostly drinking.
Okay.
And Flower and Fall will just probably play checkers between themselves.
All
A
right.
shared mind, checkers.
Yeah.
That must be interesting.
You know what the other
It's
move's
not,
gonna
it's just
do.
them sitting next to each other.
Like, I know what you're gonna do, but I know what you're gonna do.
All right. And Paul, I'm guessing you're just going to keep
Yeah.
doing to the crew's job.
I'm just gonna take over. You completely just do the crew. I'm a one-man crew.
Just imagining one of those scenes where it goes just all over the ship.
Yeah, multiple Pauls.
Just doing tasks.
All right. So after a few weeks of sailing, you guys start to see tortage over the horizon. And Paul, by this point, from your various doing the rest of the crew's job, you've made about 30 gold.
Wow.
And you've all gotten to know the crew a little bit. They're pretty random collection. It seems like your contact just kind of hired whoever could do the ship's jobs. Like the crew didn't really know each other before this, and none of them really have a background in sailing. With the exception of the captain himself, although you learn next to nothing about him, he is you're pretty confident that he's just mute altogether, although he may be capable of talking if he so wills it. So you see Tortage off on the horizon, and for a bit of background, aesthetically speaking, Tortage is the biggest in a small archipelago off the coast of Hyboria. It's part of an archipelago called the Baraka Isles. Tortage is the biggest one and currently the only main one that has any serious civilization on it, for lack of a better term. The crew has warned you that this place is a den of scum and villainy. Basically, 3 different factions of pirates fight over this area. Although Tortage itself, the crew has promised, is neutral ground where nobody will bother you for being affiliated with them.
Reminds me I'm not.
So you guys are sailing towards there. You have about a couple hours to friggin' make any arrangements before you friggin' leave the ship and the crew.
Could I go up to the Swabby and just be like, "It'll be okay. We may be gone, but it's fine. Don't weep."
He kind of crosses his arms and kind of scoffs and looks off to the side and it's just, "I'm not crying. Who's crying?" And then you see like his eyes are like very sad.
Oh wow!
Just give him like a small, like a really tiny hand pat on the shoulder.
He kind of gives you a 1-finger rub on the head. All right. Anything else from the rest of you before you leave?
Before I leave.
I imagine at this point the ship is just like squeaky clean.
Spotless.
Yeah, it is. Like the barnacles have been removed. The timbers are refitted.
Scurvy has been purged.
Yeah, the scurvy has been purged. Like it's delightful.
Like
it's probably the nicest been since it was constructed.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, do I know who the cook is?
Yeah, the cook is actually that dark elf with the beanie.
Well, I'm gonna go to that cook and I'm gonna give him little pointers like, well, before you cut this, you know.
Yeah, he's gonna give it right.
He gonna tell him his job.
He's actually the closest to sober you've ever seen him on this trip. And to your surprise, though, he actually sits with you and swaps recipes with you. The reason he's the ship's cook is that his family are all famous dark elf cooks that have specialized recipes since like their great grandmothers. Which is particularly
getting shit done.
So yeah, like he's actually a fairly articulate guy when he's sober. And he friggin' tells you to wait a moment, disappears into the kitchen for a minute, and comes back with the squeaky clean cooking utensils you were using, and offers them to you and says, "I think you and your friends will get good use out of these."
Sheds a tear. But
so if you don't have one already, the function as chef's tools.
No, I don't think I start off as one, even butler.
Oh yeah, you can get them now.
Sure. Yeah. No, I just have proficiency, so yeah.
So yeah, now you have cook's utensils.
Yeah, I'll gladly take them on my hands and put them.
It's funny how you get proficiency with.
Yeah. Just how D&D is.
Yeah, it's for balance. All right, Captain Red, anything for you before we leave? Everyone else had a tearful goodbye.
Honestly, Captain Red probably just like is just like, "Oh, see you, mates," to the guys he was drinking with, and just leaves with a bottle.
Yeah, they raise the bottles to you, and friggin' go back to their business. All right. So, are you guys ready for your adventure to officially begin?
Oh.
I honestly didn't expect you guys to friggin' actually bond with the crew. I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, so
just be like, yeah, fuck it, let's just get to the actual fucking story, damn it.
yeah. Okay, so you arrive at Tortage, and the dock you're docking at, like, have you ever been to a place in the real world where you look at it and you think, I don't think this place has literally ever seen legitimate business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's this place. It's this dingy, rocky, scummy little dock nestled in between two sides of a cliff, so that presumably the Navy has a harder time finding it. There's pirate ships all around, but as the crew promised you, they aren't fighting. Even though you can see without even like getting a close look that the crews are just
Wants to.
yeah, like the crews all really don't get along, and some of them are giving you guys funny looks. Although a few of them are, raising bottles and tipping caps to you. Presumably, they're members of the same faction that your ship is.
Mm.
Cool.
The dock is not big enough to actually house more than like 2 or 3 ships, and a particularly big galleon is currently taking up a good chunk of it. So your ship comes to just side to side with the dock, so that you and the crew can get off that way. And most of the crew says their goodbyes to you and just start offloading
I thought we
cargo.
just did our goodbyes.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, they're just, like giving a last just kind of see ya. Like, we got work to do. We're probably not going to see each other again. And they go off to just go about their business. But the captain actually pulls you guys aside.
Oh.
Yeah. His hands are in his pockets, and he just kind of stares at you for a little while. It seems like he's trying to decide, like, what he wants to say or if he wants to say it at all. But he eventually speaks up with a very deep, gravelly tone and says, once you're off this ship, there's no leaving the island until your job is done. The Thieves Guild controls these docks now, and the leader is paranoid, won't let anyone in or out if they don't do a favor for him first. I can take you, but I have contacts on the inside. If you want to leave, this is going to be your last chance.
I ain't leaving until I have the treasure, mate.
Tempting, just ends my quest.
It just ends the quest right here. Yeah, good run. It's like, we'll be okay, don't worry. And Fall just nod. Fall's quiet and not. Mostly because I don't have a voice for her. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Kind of an introvert. And Paul?
Paul just Paul has his reasons and just gives him a good bow and says, "I hope we meet again."
He nods and says, "Same to you, my friend." And to your surprise, he actually pulls you, Captain Red, and you, Paul, into a hug, one on each arm, and uses 2 fingers for Flower and Fall, and gives you guys a quiet farewell hug before he goes off to monitor.
That's instead of him breaking our back.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough hug. Like, your shoulders are a bit sore, but with that, he leaves the ship to go on the dingy docks. So,
Is that what this place is called? The Dingy Dock?
I mean, actually, I didn't have a name for this specific dock, so sure, dingy dock. So yeah, like you said, this is your last chance. You leave the ship now. No getting back on it and going home.
I thought we had already left.
Fair enough. The rest of you good?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Just pulling up all the stuff I need. Okay, so you guys can make perception checks if you want, but I'll give you a general description that doesn't.
I'm gonna roll.
So, like I said, you guys are on Dingy Dock, nestled into 2 sides of a cliff that surround you on either side. Not exactly nice, especially given
Well,
that.
that's a 1.
Captain Red, the alcohol starts to catch up with you, and you just slump against one of the friggin' tie-off points on the dock.
Whoa, like a ton of bricks.
And you promptly drop your last bottle of Red Drake into the sea.
Ah, shit.
Guess
yeah,
I'll do my
and
rolls.
the forebodingness of the cliffs aren't helped by the fact that this place was formed by a volcano, and the ash has permanently dyed these cliffs pitch black.
So I rolled
Um,
my perception, and I got a with modifiers 19.
I
damn,
got
all right.
a 17.
Okay,
Mod-
so
Fuck. 19 and 17. I got a fucking 1.
so
Well, you were drunk.
yeah, that's fair actually. So this apply. So I'll continue describing, and then I'll specify when it applies only to those with the good perception checks. The
Well, there's
dock
only
is just,
2 people.
well,
Because I rolled a fucking 1.
well, technically 3, but you get what I mean. Anyways, so the docks are just kind of held together with splinters and hope. It's a basic little cobblestone and wooden dock area. Various crews, mostly the ones you guys just departed, are offloading and reloading various cargo. Although this applies to the perception checks. Flower Fall and Paul, hey, that rhymes. You guys see a staircase across the dock from you, and it's just kind of held up by like what are those wooden beams? They're held up by beams of wood that are very much about to cave in under their own weight, but that's a problem for the construction workers, not you. And those of you with the perception checks notice that there is currently some people in weird uniforms who seem to be harassing a small person in a trench coat and fedora. And the ship's lookout and cook, still drunk, are like essentially yelling like high school level encouragement for them to start a fight.
Fight, 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 fight.
I go to intervene.
All right, Flower Fall.
I'll support him.
All right,
Captain Red's
Red.
too
Or
busy
we'll
being.
support him. There we go. I need to get used to
He's
playing
like,
2
"Wait."
characters.
What's going on?
Do you want to stumble your way after them?
I guess. Hey, where you
Smash,
going?
strategy, yeah.
Where you
Mumble
going? Get the fuck back.
All right. Since you guys already rolled good perception checks, I'll actually throw in a bonus. Again, this only applies to the good perception checks.
Not the drunkard.
Yeah, not the drunkard. Sprites and Paul, as you near the fight, you just kind of elbow past the cook and the lookout. You actually overhear a very brief snippet of what these weird uniform dudes are saying to this person. They're demanding some kind of information related to a door and the keys to open it. But one of them, the only one not in uniform, although you can clearly tell he's with them, turns to see you. He doesn't seem angry. He's just like, oh, people. And he starts coming towards you. Captain Red, this is where you'll catch up and kind of start to sober up a bit. This fellow is like slaying handsome. Like, friggin' clearly takes great care of himself. He was born with good looks and he knows it. Carries himself with the utmost confidence. Friggin' human, for the record.
Just looks back here.
Fucking silver spoon, motherfucker.
He just kind of stares at you and just goes, white. And then turns to Paul and the sprites, and he actually seems very happy to see you. He clasps his hands together before holding 2 fingers out to the sprites and a full hand to you, Paul, offering a handshake.
Faye carefully takes the handshake, and Fall just shakes it like a normal person.
Even though they're freaking tiny.
Well, he's held out fingers for them. So.
Yeah. And Paul?
I thought about doing something, but I mean, I was like,
Do it.
Well, I was like, should I be a germaphobe or something like that?
Up to you, your character.
Paul Paul just gives it a good handy shake, it's a respectful
enough.
shake.
Yeah. With the handshake out of the way, he clasps his hands again before he takes off his glasses. The glasses being the only kinda dirty part about him. They're clearly kinda old, and he hasn't taken amazing care of them. More just out of circumstance than like any actual lack of hygiene on his part. Yeah, he clasps his hands after taking his glasses off to get a better look at you, which actually allows you to get a clear look at his gorgeous eyes before he finally bows to the four of you and
Putting
says,
your OC fantasy characters in this, I see. Sorry. Go on.
OC fantasy character, like just because he's handsome. For the record, if you want to picture like a person, just to make it clear, he doesn't like he's not like supposed to look like me or something. Just picture like a kind of Cillian Murphy type.
I have no idea who that is, so I will just picture Legolas.
That's acceptable. Anyways, he bows to you and says, "My name is Igor Konkaro. It's wonderful to meet all of you."
Captain Red just like shakes his head for a moment. Seems to like recollect himself. Nice to meet you, mate.
Flower Fall, anything? Just want to make sure I give you a chance before I continue.
You're pretty handsome.
Would you believe that's not the first time I've heard that?
I would hope not.
I appreciate it nonetheless. Sorry about the, he gestures to the scene that you guys were coming to intervene with. Scene here. I'm afraid my associates and the Boomer Gangers can be a bit overzealous with their initiation. Is that the word?
Pulls out a dictionary.
He smiles and looks over you guys before his look brightens up even more somehow. And he says, "Oh, I don't suppose you all would be adventurers."
Ooh.
We are.
In the sense of the word.
He winks to all of you and pulls a one-handed war pick from his adventuring pack.
We going mining for something?
No, it's a symbolism thing. I'm an adventurer myself.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I don't suppose you guys have heard of our organization here. Gestures to the fellows in uniform.
Nope, first time we've been here.
Oh, well.
I didn't hear anything about you last
time. He smiles and says, "Well, then let me be the first to welcome you to this humble little island." He puts one hand kind of melodramatically to block people from hearing and just says, "Between does a quick head count, 5 of us, let's just say that this place could use a bit of steam cleaning."
I kind of like it. Reminds me of
this place is kind of shabby.
Gets my gloves ready.
Yeah, this guy over here, this Paul guy, he likes to clean
stuff. I respect that. In case you couldn't tell, just looking at me, I prefer my environment to be fairly spick and span myself. He bows to you again and says, "If you'll spare a man his ramblings, I think that the 4 of you would be great fits for our organization. The Boomer Gangers are an organization that seeks to bring technological enrichment to the world. You see, so much of the world is falling behind these days. We can't just solve all of our problems with swords and muskets anymore, you know? So we want to make things a bit better, more advanced. And this young lady here," and he gestures to the figure in the coat and hat, "knows where we can find a certain treasure of value that would actually be a great asset to our organization to perform this task."
I do like the sound of treasure of value.
You see the person kind of like, because they're kind of backed against the wall, and you see them kind of curl their fists up a bit. It seems like they're gearing up to fight their way out.
Oh.
They don't seem too happy.
Camera just looks at the guy. He's like, "Oh, you getting ready to fight, are you?" That's ought to be interesting.
They don't answer you. They just kind of, they seem to be concentrating. And to you, Flower and Fall, he says, "Well, I mean, does anybody like parting with information of value? I suppose you'd like to tell me where your parents live."
Wow, that's just rude.
Oh. Oh.
You see, information is more valuable than any, and I consider myself a bit of a hoarder, so to speak. And all we need is the location of the keys and the door that it unlocks.
That's not vague at all.
Yeah. You ever tried to decipher ancient scrolls and prophecies? It's never an easy job. It's always some indirect riddle crap.
You see, I usually just paid them to do that for me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I am the guy being paid to do it. So, would you fellows care to help me out?
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, if there's money involved somehow, I'd give. The voice is changing again. Hang on.
Flower, Fall.
I guess. I mean, it's not like we really have anything else to do.
All right, Paul.
How are we? How are we assisting you in this endeavor?
Well, assuming this young lady, bless you, assuming this young lady gives us everything we need, it'll actually be a very simple job. We do have a basic map that tells us where we need to go. So if she gives us the location of the keys, then it's just collect them, find the door, unlock it, and we'll split the treasure among us as equals.
I'm always up for some good money.
Hmm.
Paul's going to walk towards the lady.
Okay. Anything in particular? Or are you just kind of looking?
Well, what's her condition?
They haven't touched her yet, although you rolled good perception, so I'll allow it here too. You see the cultists are pre-equipped with daggers and crap. They're probably willing to resort to drastic measures if the circumstances force it. But again, they haven't touched her yet. They're just talking.
Okay.
And you notice when you get closer to her, you can actually get a better look at her. She is an Alrane, a sunflower Alrane to be specific, wearing a brown overcoat and fedora, kind of a general Indiana Jones vibe.
Thinking minutes up. Sorry, 1 second.
Take your time.
Comrade looks to the one dude who had the pick and shit.
Igor.
Igor. This is. So, you need the information from this person before we can continue?
Yep. We have the map, but she's the only one that has the location of the keys.
Comrade just looks slowly approaches. Alright, the way I see it, you have something we want. Is there anything we could get you? Or do we just not beat the crap out of you?
She finally looks up as she hadn't yet, so the rest of you can see that her identity is a sunflower running. She looks up at you, Captain Red, and spits in your face and says, "The only thing I want is you and your dumb cultists out of my town."
No, you shouldn't have done that. He just pulls out his sword and puts it like right up to their neck.
Flower and Fall want to just like, whoa, 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 whoa. No need to get violent here.
I would like to get out my shield.
All right. Oh shit. Things are getting hectic. As soon as weapons are drawn, all of the cultists go to their weapons. They're not aggressive yet. They're just like, they want to be ready.
Prepared,
Yeah, it seems like a fight's gonna break out. The girl, for her part, looks directly at you, Captain Red, and just says, "You think I haven't seen people scarier than you before?"
I would like-
Trust me. Trust me, you have no idea.
I would like to intervene. Put my shield between him and
Can
the
I
girl.
roll intimidation?
Sure, go ahead and do that, and then I'll have Paul do his thing.
I just realized it'd be a good thing to do with that line. It's gonna be a shithole, but yeah, it's what is that? Oh wait, I think that's a 16.
Have any
Yeah.
modifiers?
Plus 1 to charisma, I believe. Yeah. So 17.
Wait. Don't I have a
Proficiency, maybe?
Yeah, I thought I had a plus. I thought I saw a plus specifically for the intimidation.
Here, I have your character sheet on hand. Give me a second.
I'm looking at it. Oh yeah, it says here +3 intimidation.
Okay, so with
Oh,
a roll
yeah.
of 16, that would be 19. She does look a bit more frayed. She's starting to sweat chlorophyll.
She could see that the murderous intent thinks
Yeah,
to a
but-
certain something.
But to your surprise, she actually is still holding strong. She seems ready to go down swinging. And at that point, Paul, you put a shield between her and Captain Red.
As Paul does that, Comrade just flicks his hood away. I wouldn't have killed her. Wouldn't have helped us. She has information we need.
I'm gonna give like a look at to Red and then turn over to the girl, making sure she's okay.
She's good, just a little scraping on the pedals.
I'm gonna give her a little, just fix her up, get a cloth to clean her up.
So did you put a shield on? Did you put it on the ground, or are you holding it?
I'm holding it, just holding it between me and him.
So Faye and Fall, or Flower and Fall, sit on top of the shield and are just. I don't think I really like getting information out of people whenever you're threatening them.
Sometimes sometimes scare me. Get it. Sometimes other methods just don't get what you need.
I feel like there's ways to get information out of people without, hurting them.
Certainly the fact.
I mean, maybe.
I looks like we're gonna have to go in this one long.
Help her, help us. Yeah.
Also, Paul, as you're kind of sprucing her up, pardon my pun, as you're sprucing her up, she whispers to you so that the rest can't overhear and says, "What are you doing? I thought you were with them."
Well, I guess wants to keep it private, so I'm just gonna give it a whisper back, be like, "Ma'am, I'm with nobody. I see a hurt person, and I just wanna help."
She stares at you for a minute. Are you telling the truth? Just so I know if I need to roll insight or not.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth.
She looks at you for a while before she kind of leans closer to continue whispering and says, "Let me be clear. I have no idea what these lunatics are talking about. They've been following me about this for weeks."
Interesting.
That would explain a lot. Like why the intimidation roll didn't yield anything.
I want Flower and Fall to. They didn't hear any of this, but
Yeah.
I want them to kind of turn to her and just like, okay, let's be civil about this. What's your side of the story? And gesture to the girl.
She stares at you for a minute, but since you're taking the kind of gentle approach, she slowly speaks up. "My name is Anna Kemry, and I'm an archaeologist. I've been studying something vaguely related to what these lunatics want, and ever since they found me doing it, they've been chasing me around town, trying to back me into a corner," and gestures to the corner she's been backed into. "Well, you see how that turned out for me."
That doesn't sound very cash money of you. What's his name, Igor?
Yeah. To your surprise, he rolls with the meme and says, "Well, I'm afraid if we want cash money, we're gonna have to do some not very cash money things."
So wait a sec. Do you actually know anything?
I know that she knows something. She's been studying it. She just won't tell us everything. So let's make her tell us.
Well, I just tried that. Like I said, killing her isn't gonna help the situation. Just be pointless and waste everybody's time.
And
So
make
fighting
enemies.
is also pointless because she knows we won't kill her.
Igor slides his hair back a bit, like kind of out of frustration, although he keeps his face calm, and says, "All right, I really appreciate you guys' help. Let's just take her to my boss, and he can get the information out of her. He's an expert with that."
Hey, I'm
How
not going
exactly
to
is
a
he gonna do
secondary
that?
location.
And how exactly is he
He smiles and says, "Classified information, I'm afraid."
Mhm.
Now you care for business that deals with classified information. Those are the deals that tend to go the most.
Mm.
Well, then you best stick to piracy and stay out of government work or the good work that we're trying to do. If you don't want to help me, you don't have to.
Quote unquote
Good work.
Yeah.
That's what you call it. Some people like to call it something else.
There's always alternate names for everything, isn't there? What some people call torture, others call interrogation. What some people call fear, others call respect. And what sounds like disobedience may have just been a mistake on the part of the speaker.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't like that tone.
Anna speaks up from the back. Just in case my point didn't get across, he is crazy.
Well, how are we supposed to know? We just got here.
Yeah.
kind
Oh.
of is like, honestly, miss, everyone's a little bit crazy when you really break it down.
I mean, speaking
And
to
if I didn't work
the
with crazy,
parasite.
if I didn't work with crazy, I'd starve. So I know a thing or two about crazy.
Well, then you shouldn't have any problems with what we're doing here. You seem to be good at this interrogation stuff. Maybe you and my boss can work together, and you'll definitely pry the information out of her.
Con. Besides, I'm not convinced they actually know anything.
Well, she's our only lead. It's either this or nothing.
Hmm. So, I'm going to use my shield
Okay.
to protect her as I take her away.
Oh.
Is he gonna be like running?
Nah, I'm just gonna walk with the shield, between me and y'all, just walking back to her, I guess, wherever she works or live or whatever.
As you start trying to take her away, the cultists all turn their knives to you, and Igor pulls out a hand crossbow and aims that at you and says, "I'm afraid you don't want to do that. I don't like letting people walk away with my information."
Now this
Faye
is
and
getting
Paul are gonna pull out their shields.
I gotta be honest. Two with those two, or three, I guess, because there's two of them.
Yeah.
I think they're a little less crazy. Just like just pointing his sword out, kind of just trying to pick a target.
My
Igor
teammates,
sighs. Igor sighs and shrugs his shoulders. Very well. And he whistles, and two more cultists leap out of the shadows and start to surround all of you. Roll for initiative.
Boy, oh boy.
All right.
Can I just say real quick, I was honestly getting so giddy because I was really hoping that you guys were gonna walk off with the villain.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about villains. They usually find a way to rub most of the main characters wrong.
Yeah, well, otherwise there wouldn't be conflict.
10.
17.
Let me pull up. Okay, so 10 for Paul. So I'll just say sprites 17 because you share an initiative.
All right, let me roll. Hang on, I'm checking my initiative. Okay, I get +2 to initiative. So that would be 12.
All right. Just noting everyone's down to determine the turn order. All right, the turn order is going to be the cultists, Igor himself, the sprites, Captain Red, and Paul.
Okay.
So, just to give you guys an overview of the current situation in terms of battle. So, Paul, your back is quite literally to the wall, or rather to Anna, whose back is in turn against the wall. And in total, 6 cultists are at Igor's side, for again just kind of surrounding you guys in a kind of half circle. You can flee back. Back from the towards the dock, but if you're gonna go forward, only way is through. Okay, so the cultists are gonna do their business. One of the cultists is gonna try to give Captain Red a slizzity slice with their dagger.
So they're using like stabby, slashy weapons.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
A blade.
interesting.
That's gonna be a hit. I don't even need to check your armor class. Stop dropping the dice, me. The first cultist slices at you for 2 damage.
Rip.
He's dead. I can't
No.
believe he's dead.
Our tank is dead already.
All right, so that's get my health up minus 13 health.
The next one is going to go after you, Paul. What's your armor class?
Well, since I have my shield out, it's 14. Got a 14 in my armor class.
All right, you're lucky. They came just short. One of them goes to give you a good stabbing, but you shield block it.
Good. Luckily, I had the shield out.
And two more, but like one each is going to go after Flower and Fall, respectively. That's a hit
How
on.
many cultists are there?
4 that are actively attacking you. There is 6 in total, not counting Igor, but the remaining 2 are kind of holding back. It seems like they're just trying to block you guys from escaping up the stairs. That's a hit on both Flower and Fall.
Rip.
Jeez.
That's really low, so that's bad.
2
yeah.
hits, or 2 damage to Flower, 4 damage to Fall.
Ooh.
Oof, ouch. The fall's almost out already.
Yeah. How far away are they to me?
They're just like right in front of you. Like, no.
And Igor hasn't attacked yet. He's the one I'm really worried about because he's.
Yeah,
Like,
speaking
Yeah.
of which, he aims his crossbow at you, Captain Red, and fires.
my measly class.
I kept tweaking and retweaking this fight, wondering like if you guys were going to be able to handle it or not.
When I find out.
What's your armor class?
Crossbows at 13.
That's a hit.
You just get a party wipe right here.
He hits you for 3 damage with the crossbow.
Alright, we're going. Oh, wait, that's wrong. Minus 3, minus 3. Accidentally 3. Okay.
All right. Flower and Fall, you're up. So you can attack with one twin, and then the other attacks at disadvantage.
Let me see.
So it's a bonus action, Matthew?
Yes.
I'm gonna have Flower attack. With the axe. Like whoever's closest to her, really.
It'd be one of the cultists, so I'll just say the one that attacked you.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Boy, oh boy, a 6. She tries and tries, but it doesn't work.
Like 6 in total with modifiers?
Oh wait, I didn't check the modifiers. It would be strength, right?
Also,
Well, it says on your sheet.
also our crossbows
sorry, I don't
piercing
know.
damage?
Yes.
Sweet. That might help us. Yeah, if you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage.
Well, so Qua, for the
Okay,
record,
so it's 7.
yeah, okay, well that's still, I was just gonna say for the record, it's listed on your character sheet, but yeah, that's not gonna cut it, I'm afraid. What about Fall?
I'm gonna have her defend.
Okay, so like raise your AC or like react against the next person that attacks you.
I'm just gonna have her put up her shield.
Okay, so for
AC.
shields, I believe, are +2 to AC, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 13 AC now. Just keep that in mind. I actually probably should have put the shield on your thing by default. I apologize. That was me overlooking it. Anyway. All right, so there's your turns.
Is the enlarging a bonus action?
No, that just happens by default when you transform.
Oh, okay. So we have 2 dice to roll when I attack, right? It says 1d6 and then you add a 1d4.
I'll double check. Also, it is your turn. But here,
I'm
let me.
literally. When enlarged, your opponent's attacks deal 1d4 extra damage
Okay, so yes, yeah, they'll do 1d4 extra.
on top of a 1d6. Okay.
Okay, so yes.
Alright, so it's time for Captain Reg. Captain, I just have something to do for it. So Captain Reg just like notices a slash on arrow sticking out. He's like, made me bleed. I guess we're gonna have to do this the hard. And I guess if I understand it correctly, a red and black mass starts to envelop him, and he just becomes like this big monster with this weird mass and I guess like claws on his hands, and decides to pick out, I guess, the guy who shot an arrow at him. He's like, let's see how you stand up to this, and launches an unarmed attack. Which, do unarmed attacks have to be rolled to hit?
Yeah, like all
yeah.
attacks do. Believe.
Because I remember seeing a rule set that didn't have to roll for
It's an
those, that they
attack
just
roll.
hit automatically, but they were usually low damage.
No, they just usually like I think a D4 unless you are like unless you have like your class like specifies it, but
Okay, so you have a +2 to this. So friggin' D20 +2 to hit him, and see if you make it.
17 with the 2.
All right, that's a hit.
So I roll a d6 and then a d4.
All right, go for it.
That's my bonus damage. That is a 6 and 2, so 8. So he's gonna do an 8 slashing damage with his claws.
Nice.
I'll
Igor's
just
not.
get it real quick. Just Flowers. Just was he always able to do that?
He's just like, yes, this is my little talked about.
Just like does the neck thing.
Yeah. And yes, for the record, talking is a free action. You can always talk in battle.
So he's just. I imagine he just like roared whenever he's this
Yeah.
guy. Oh, and I have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which
Alright.
is what all of their damage is, from what I understand.
so
Yeah.
you're good against like physicals but not magic.
So I think what that means is I take less damage.
You take
Yeah.
half damage,
Yeah,
or if they
half.
crit, just normal damage.
Okay.
And Paul, you're up.
Alright, well seeing as especially since she doesn't have a lot of HP, I'm going to use some of my healing energy on which one took the 4 damage? Fall. I'm gonna use some of my healing energy to to heal Fall and just bring her back to full HP.
Alright. Paul, you're healed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fall just quietly trying to think of a voice for it. Ah,
You can just use normal voice until you think of one.
Yeah.
Most D&D
just
podcasts
quietly
do that.
just thank you.
So back. I'm assuming that took up your turn, Paul.
I believe so. Yeah. It won't be a bonus action until level 6. So yeah, took on my turn.
All right. The cultists, for their part, are unfazed by the healing or the transformation into a beast, with royal dedication to their grand cause. They're gonna keep slashing at all of you. So same
Wow,
routine.
rude.
Paul, your
What
AC
did
again?
we ever do to
14.
them?
That's a hit on you.
So what is your plan if we wind up somehow killing the big bad right
You'll see why that's not gonna happen.
What was your plan if we died?
Okay, so
We're dead.
I mean, yeah, you're just kind of dead.
So
Well,
I
that
guess
was
it's
the
like a scripted battle where there's going to be an event in it.
Maybe.
Pretty much, yeah. Also, Flower blocks a stab from one of the cultist daggers.
Wait, how much damage did I take?
I haven't rolled for damage yet. I'm seeing like who all gets hit, and then I'll just roll for all of you. That is another hit on Fall, though.
Is that the one on 2?
It was on 2
Well,
health
yeah,
before I
it's
healed
been
it.
healed now.
I healed her.
And that's a hit on Sanguis. So Paul, Fall, and Sanguis, you all take
Remember, my damage pass.
2 slashing damage, or in Sanguis's case, 1.
Hmm.
Well,
Oh, wait.
now
Plus-
Flower and Fall are on the same damage. That's good.
Yeah. Funny. I just saved her life.
Yeah, she would have died.
Wonder
Igor.
when Igor's gonna have this revelation.
Igor gets up from being slashed, friggin' bleeding all over his nice suit. And he looks up at you, and to your shock, for probably the first time since you've had the ability to do this, he's not scared of you in the slightest. He's almost fascinated by you. And he's just like, I've never seen one in person before.
Oh.
This is a revelation, a scientific marvel even. I have to report this back to base. He whistles, and the 2 bonus cultists who hadn't been engaging in the fight grab him by the arms using their daggers as kind of a block and start. And you think that they're gonna go up the stairs into town, but to your surprise, they go to the right, off the side of the dock, disappearing into the ocean.
Okay. Bye.
Come register. Coward. But then there's
Did they just jump
like
into
a
the
slightly
ocean?
different voice to it. It's fine, but there are others to consume. Looking at the other cultists that are now left.
Yeah. So the 2 bonus ones have left, as have Igor. So you just got the 4-1 attacking each of you to deal with. And speaking of which, Flower and Fall, it is your turns.
Wait,
Time to
yeah, my turn.
die.
Just
So let me
suddenly.
know if I one-shot any, because I have some flavor for that.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
Do these guys have a lot of health?
No, I wouldn't put you up against like boss enemies necessarily.
I got a 14.
For Flower,
Yes.
that's a hit.
Yeah. Okay. She's
Axe, right?
yes.
1d10.
Cool. Is this the
And-
D10? I always get
And
confused.
don't forget, you can fire the gun as a bonus action.
Cool. I'm probably just gonna fall. Like defend.
All right, so same deal as before. So
A
I'll say
10. Ha!
you one-shot the fucking cultist.
Tiny guy just stabs him.
Stabs him right in the eye, like.
Come on, baby, I need.
And Fall's just gonna defend.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll say
Fair enough.
+4 to your AC because shield and you're actively defending. So, Paul, you're up.
Wait, you skipped
Yeah, I
me.
was like. Me.
Oh, sorry, I got you guys order in the turn thing confused. Okay, Sanguis, you're up.
Come on, I need a good roll, baby. I need a good. Fucking 5.
That's not gonna cut it, I'm afraid. The cultist dodges out of the way. Now
I guess he just like goes. But he just dodges it, so he's just breaking the ground.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So I'm about to actually go install a new dice app because this is ridiculous.
Which one are you using?
I didn't know there was dice apps.
This dice app is going into the freaking bag of dice that have betrayed me.
Yeah, the ether of bad dice.
Well,
It's literally just an app called Dice.
Well, I don't want to leave the lady's side, so I'm gonna Anna's side. So I'm gonna pull up my hand crossbow.
All right.
And just
Fuck him up.
yeah, mess him up. No. I'm gonna shoot one of the cultists.
Okay.
You gotta shoot the one attacking.
Bear in mind, you're gonna have disadvantage on this because you're firing at a blank.
What?
It's a D&D thing. If you try to shoot a dude who's like, because this guy just tried to stab you, if you try to shoot someone with a ranged weapon who's like right up on you, you have disadvantage.
Okay.
I get that gameplay and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like I could be cumbersome enough to give you problems in close range.
Yeah, because the assumption is that they're still trying to stab you while you're trying to like aim at them.
All right.
Which, if Assassin's Creed taught me anything, that is very difficult. I've had a lot of guys get under the guns in Black Flag.
Yeah.
10. I got a 10.
Any modifier?
That was with modifier.
They dodge your shot.
Eeh.
All right. The cultists are gonna
They
go at
probably
it.
just like push the just push the crossbow out of the way before he shoots. Nah.
The cultist that just dodged your shot by knocking it out of the way is gonna try and stab you again.
I just imagine he tried to aim, he just knocks it to the side and just goes in for a stab.
Yeah, but it like does nothing. I don't even need to check your AC. He misses.
But Paul's able to shift the shield in its direction.
Yeah. The one attacking Fall actually shifts attention to Flower when he sees that she took out his buddy. Just, Brother Phil, you will pay for his life with yours, and goes to stab.
Stab.
I'm just hoping I can get like a crit to be able to one-shot these guys. Oh shit.
However, his knife deflects off of your chainmail.
It's just Flower does the just glowing eyes.
I was like, he's going to stab at him, right? So he hits this tiny little object.
However, the one attacking Sanguis very much hits, dealing 1 damage. Can't cut that in half anymore, so just 1 damage.
If only like half of 1 damage would be no damage.
Well, not that nice. Friggin'. So
Yeah, he's on
Flower
8, but it's gonna take a while for them to kill him at this rate.
Flower
I
Fall,
think
you're
that
up.
transform was a good decision because he probably would have been fucked
So
up
I'm
by
gonna
now.
slash at him.
When you made that sound, like, can I kill him?
Can they
No, I
kill
wanna bludgeon this one if I take him out.
Okay.
Wanna keep him alive.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, so I don't think that hit. It's an 11.
Any modifier?
No.
Wait, wait, was that with? Because I know you have a modifier for this.
Yeah, like it's +1.
Yeah, so it'd be 12, right?
No, I got a 10. So
Yeah,
it was
10
Oh,
to
okay.
11, yeah. We had the modifiers, yeah.
Because I asked if you had a modifier and you just said no. So I was
Oh,
like,
sorry. I thought I was being dumb. It's okay.
that's all right. He dodged out of the way, but just barely.
Do I still have a?
Yeah, Fall.
No, yeah, that's what I meant. Like I still have an extra action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
just-
disadvantage.
All right. Yeah, this is gonna have disadvantage, but yes, you can shoot him. He's not point
Okay.
blank. So well, it'd just be disadvantaged. For the record, he's not like point blank, so the shot
So-
itself isn't the difficult part.
Is Falls the one that's +3? I can't remember.
I'll double check.
These two character systems are very complicated.
For the pistol in your yeah, this is Fall with the sword, right?
Yeah.
+3.
Okay. So the lower score. 15.
That's a
Like
hit.
plus the modifier.
Yep, that's a hit. Roll for it.
Okay, one second. Let me just get in here.
Bang. Oh, also, you have, not counting the shot that was already loaded, you have 10 extra shots, 1 for each sprite.
Right.
Or rather, like, so like you have 10 each for a total of 20.
So it's 1d10 plus 1 piercing.
Yes.
So then 10 damage.
Vrian, was this another non-fatal strike?
Yeah, I want to keep him alive.
Yeah, because it's the same
Knock him
character,
out.
so I'm not going to make you re-specify. Like it's the
Yeah,
same.
they
turn,
both have
so.
the same thoughts that go through their heads. So
So you take him out in one shot, but you shoot him in an area that just makes him pass out without friggin' dying
Like
straight
shot
out.
him in the street.
Yeah. So he falls over unconscious, but very much alive. So that's 2 down, 2 to go.
Now it's Sanguine.
Yep, you're up.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. That
again, now I
is
feel
7.
bad for killing the other
And I
guy.
have a 2 modifier,
Yeah, for unarmed strikes, yes.
so that's 19 in total.
All right, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
Matthew,
Alright, let's see.
Sup?
from now on, I want to not kill the people. 'cause I have a
Oh,
few
this is
that
gonna be a
get killed
success.
killing people.
Okay, so from now on, I'll just reverse the usual.
4 damage.
All right, he survives it, but he's still kicking. Also, Qua, to your thing, friggin'. So yeah, okay. So for you, I'll just switch the rule around. I'll assume you're going non-lethal unless you specify I want to kill them.
Makes sense.
All right, Paul, you're up.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Polly.
Forgot it was Paul. So the guy's still trying to stab me.
Yeah, you got one guy on Sanguis, one guy on you.
So I guess I'll give I'll use my short sword this time since I won't have disadvantage and to give him a little poke, you know.
Give him a little stab.
DP. Alright.
You're gonna perform improv surgery on him, so to speak.
Yeah. I got a 14.
That's a hit. Roll for damage. While you're rolling for damage, real quick, everyone's keeping track of their health and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just making sure. And Carly, you're keeping track of your ammo? Okay, so yeah, so each
3.
carries 10, so falls down to 9. And 3 damage?
Yeah, 3 damage.
Alright. Similar to Sanguis, they're still kicking. The cultists, third verse, same as the first. They're going to try and stab their respective opponents. Don't exactly have
Can't you guys do anything else?
We're only carrying knives, you see, so we knife people to death.
Yeah, you're
Stab their
Yeah, that's not-
shins.
And that's why you're not doing so good against me.
Paul, the cultist you're fighting, goes to stab you, and he actually does manage to weave his way around your armor, but Anna, to your surprise, ducks under your arm and roundhouse kicks him away from you, dealing 2 bludgeoning damage and sending him reeling back into the other cultist fighting Sanguis.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, can we
Freaking
go for
Anna.
1v1?
Anna,
Is that gonna count as the attacking turn?
not basically they rolled a nat 1, so I decided to throw.
Oh.
Anna looks at the 4 of you and just goes, "What? Didn't think I could fight?"
Honestly, no.
Wow, that's just kind of rude. She's obviously an adventurer.
I know a fighting type when I see one.
Okay.
And Sanguis, your opponent goes to stab you, but doesn't get through your flesh.
Oh, now you fuck.
All right, Flower Fall, you're up. So one's attacking. One just got roundhouse kicked by Anna, but is focusing on Paul, and one's fighting Sanguis.
Okay, well, we'll take out the ones, or try to take out the ones focusing on Paul, or the one, sorry.
Yeah, there's only 2, so. All right, go for it.
I will try to axe him.
All right, go to axe.
Ask him a question.
Haha, 19.
That's a hit.
Prepare to die.
I mean, not die.
A 10.
You axe him in the chest, and he falls over unconscious.
I love how he's just.
I mean, to be fair, it is a tiny axe.
Yeah, it's a very small axe.
I think you just made him skip a beat.
And so I'm gonna have Fall try to shoot at the other one.
Okay. You know the drill, disadvantage, but go for it.
Which one did they take out?
The one fighting Paul, so your opponent is
So,
standing.
either way, I got a 20 with the modifiers.
Damn! Wait, nat 20 or regular?
No,
No,
modifiers. Modified
With
20.
Yeah, with the
modifiers.
modifiers.
Okay, well, still, that's definitely a hit, so go for it.
These
Uh,
This
fools.
one's already taken
wait.
damage, right?
Wait, and yes, but also wait, Quiet, you're shooting at him with fall, right?
Yeah.
You need to reload. You already fired
Oh,
the shot.
yeah. Well, okay.
But you can keep that attack roll for next turn.
I'm watching you.
Doy.
It's good. I forget that they need to reload since they're like flintlocks.
Yeah, only bows don't have the reload property.
Which makes sense.
Okay.
I will keep it in mind.
So, Sanguis, you're up.
Alright, come on, don't fail me. I got 12 and then plus 2, 14.
That's a hit.
Just barely.
The armor class is 12.
That's 4. And for the D4. Oh no, that's not the D4. What the fuck am I doing?
The pyramid one.
That is. So that's a 4, so 8 damage.
You take him out. You want to add any flavor? Or...
Yeah. So I guess when it goes to slash, he just like. And like after he slashes him, there's like little bits of his arm like still stuck to them, and it's just. And it just slowly consumes their remains.
Ew.
Gross.
And he's like, the beast has got to eat.
All right.
And I guess it's all of them dealt with, right?
Yep.
Flower just like does the neck thing again. Disgusting.
So I guess with the battle over, he
All right.
Yeah.
So you're back
So,
to Captain Red.
so he
before
just like,
we
oh man, I guess sorry, I had to. The creature needs to eat, so when I kill something, he tends to take his opportunity.
before we take any action, I'm gonna get some rope out and tie up the ones that aren't dead.
Yeah, you have rope in your pack, so friggin'. All right, you tie up the 2 cultists that you knocked out.
There we go. Now you can question them later. And just a small thumbs up.
Smart move. Smart move, loves.
Thanks. She
That's
goes
the
in
life.
for like a tiny high five.
Yeah. Anna returns it.
Yeah.
Captain Rez is like, I'm not gonna be able to pull that trick again for a little bit.
Oh, I think that's for the best. You're a bit of a monster, metaphorically
Yeah.
and literally.
Yes.
Gotta admit, it's pretty hot. Things get.
So you're in human form now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well.
Trust me, you'll know whenever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you went back or not, but I'm gonna go
And is it
attend
like once a rest?
long rest probably, yeah.
Yes, yeah. But you get a bit more times to do it as you level up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just attend to everyone's wounds with my doctor's
Okay.
kit.
Okay, so friggin', do you need to make any rolls for that, or?
Well, technically yes, but depending on how long do we got?
Well, it's up to you guys. Do you guys just want to hang out here, or?
Yes, I guess it's up to y'all. Because if we have unlimited, because my doctor's kit has unlimited uses, so technically I just.
Here. Actually, this plays into what I was going to do next anyway. Anna looks down at the 2 captured cultists before looking at the 4 of you, and says, well, we can't exactly interrogate enemies who supposedly know classified information on the docks. As much as I don't really want most of you in my house, we can come back to my place.
Oh.
Yeah, road trip.
The way I go where best odds lie.
Well, if
So-
you think the best odds are with a roof over your head and a bed to sleep in, then my place.
That's what I'm saying. No hard
Yeah.
feelings. It's just good business.
Right. So who's gonna carry friggin' Tweedledee and Tweedledum?
You see, I would, but
That's
I
fair.
guess that doesn't leave very many options. He just goes to pick one of them up.
Paul, do you want to take the other?
Yeah, I'll drag the other one.
All right. So you guys head up. Anna leads you guys up the stairs and into town.
Hey.
Hey.
Friggin'